Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Open Mic. This is episode 14 with Samantha Rund. I am Mike DeVore, your host. Yeah. So, how you doing, Samantha?
I'm good. I'm a little tired.
You look tired.
Thank you.
That's nice. Yeah. So today we're just going to talk about a few things. Things revolving self-confidence, as well as you want to talk about the Serena Williams documentary.
Yeah, I saw a lot of documentaries this last week. So that was one of them.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, with I mentioned self-confidence up top because a few episodes ago I was talking about self-doubt, like overcoming that, whatnot, or just experiencing it in general. This time around, I wanted to talk about like having the confidence within yourself to overcome like any challenge, whether it's like when it comes to performing, like whether it's on stage or on the field or like in sports or whatever you do to overcome. Like that's what I want to talk about. Have you ever experienced a time with your self-confidence?
Yes, but actually what I was thinking was perfect timing because that the series documentary being Serena, it's actually perfect for what you wanted to talk about.
Nice.
It's actually lined up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The mental game that goes in with tennis, the adversity that she had to overcome, her and her sister, of course, her like getting back into the game. And then when you define yourself, I think you talked about this on a different episode, defining yourself as a comic for what, about 6 years or so, and then starting to question
who you are. Yeah.
And so after she became a mother, just like that other part of her identity that's super important to her, but being this dominant, amazing, world-class athlete and how to balance that. So yeah.
Nice.
The sides of confidence, knowing that you've got it, but then also some of the doubt that can come, especially with those life changes.
Yeah. No, that's amazing because one thing that happened to me last night, I performed on two different shows. Or one was a show, another was an open mic. And on the show, there was this comic from LA, and his name was Curtis Cook. Super funny guy. I'm not gonna lie, like when I saw his set, I was like, oh my God, like this guy is really good. Like, can I rise up to his level to deliver my sets? And I pulled something out of what The Rock said. I remember watching him talking about, as far as he's like, the first thing first, everything's going to be okay. And I remember that. And as soon as I thought that to myself, all my nerves went away.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So then, like, and another nerves that I had was I had a buddy of mine come see me. Like, I met this guy streaming. Shout out Metal Moose. He also streams Mario Maker. And I was nervous because I was just like, man, here's someone that's coming here to see me, and you want to make sure you deliver. And I don't know about you, but whenever I perform in front of somebody that I know, I get more nervous.
Oh yeah, 100%. For comedians though, and for actors, like if I'm acting and there are people that I've been in an acting class with or been a play with, it's different than if it's family or friends. I'll get more nervous for that. Same with comedians.
Yeah.
Like if they're comics that we've been at mics together, we've supported each other at shows, or, I know they're into comedy, I'm less nervous than if it's just like, oh, here's my good friend that's seeing me all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for fast forward throughout the show, I proceeded to have a good set. I released a clip of it on my YouTube channel, which is, I'm 2 away from being able to customize my URL.
What?
Yeah, two subscribers away. So if you hear this, give me a subscribe. Hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel where I post content every day. But basically, I bring that up because not only did I have a good set, but I performed and I got this chunk of material out of it just by riffing on it. I felt really good. I felt like I could take the crowd wherever I want to. So yeah, so like that came in, like coming from a place of self-doubt to being able to overcome that success. Like it felt amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost good that you have the self-doubt because then you have something to overcome.
Yeah.
Right. Silver lining.
What about you? Like, was there like a time in your life where you had to overcome something?
No. I'm a brown woman in America. I've never had to overcome anything.
That's funny.
Yeah, like all the time. Yeah. You want a specific?
Like, I mean, like, or like, where your self-confidence kicked in, like something like, basically, like you were going through like self-doubt, and then like something you told yourself to overcome it. Like, say if like you relied back on your training or something like that. I know it's a loaded question.
Well, yeah, it's like, which one to pick?
Oh,
I
no worries. It's okay. We can come back to that if we do decide to come back to it.
right.
So this ties in with the Serena documentary. Can you like give us like a synopsis of what it's about?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about the other one. That's so funny. I feel like, okay, I don't have a specific time, but when I used to audition more for musical theater, that's definitely a time where I really have to rely on my training. Like, rely on the fact that I practice, because if it was an audition I really cared about and I get nervous and then your breath gets a little bit more shallow. So it's like, just relax. Your muscle memory is there. You've done this a bunch of times. Don't worry about it. Just have fun.
Nice.
You know, and if I would sing a cappella, I'd be less nervous because I knew I was only depending on myself and my practice. Because I've had times where the accompanist I was with, we weren't quite
on the same page.
And so that could be a little bit nerve-wracking.
What's it like to like? You're if not the only professional actor I know. You book gigs, you book commercials, you book industrials. Industrials is like industry videos, like for like Microsoft or like Amazon, stuff like that. What's it like to go through the audition process? Like, are there nerves? Are there after a while, do you get used to it? Or talk about that.
So again, okay, I'm going to tell everybody to watch the Being Serena documentary then, if you're interested in these sorts of things, because it's awesome to see how it crosses over.
Okay.
You know? Yes, there are times where I feel nervous. There are times when I don't feel nervous. So generally, the only thing that I expect is not to know what to expect.
Okay.
You know, maybe people are, you know, other people are different, but for me, it really varies. I may or may not be nervous, but the thing that's constant is knowing that I know what I'm doing and to trust that.
Okay.
And sometimes I'm more successful at remembering that, but usually, pretty much always, like once you start doing the thing you're there to do, that takes the attention. You know what I mean? That my energy that I had on myself, on being self-conscious, on being nervous, once I'm actually there to do the thing that I'm there to do, I stop paying attention to all that noise, get invested in what I'm doing.
Nice.
And that's usually the cure.
Nice. So basically, by the time you're in acting mode or in audition mode, like there's no time to think about anything else other than performing.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes you're just going to be nervous, and that's okay. Like if I get a callback or a second callback for, I had like a couple for big national past year, and I knew it was just between me and a couple other women, and I was nervous. I was so nervous because I knew it was going to be like cha-ching.
Yeah.
You know?
Get the big bucks.
That's right. And, you know, I was nervous, but I'm like, that's okay. I can just know that this nervousness is actually excitement and accept that and try to use that for what I'm doing. And then above all, I know that just because I feel nervous doesn't mean that I look nervous.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. Yeah. So how does the Serena Williams documentary tie into all this?
I was amazed hearing say that she was nervous or scared, that she was, you know, just, there's that excitement that comes before the match. You know, she's going to dominate, you know, she knows what she can do, but you're still in that space where nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah.
So I hearing this come from other people, not just actors or comedians, I think it's kind of a great lesson in what it's like to be human when you're doing something where there is no guarantee, where there's an element of risk. If you're awake to the fact that there's a risk, there's a good chance you're going to be nervous. Nervousness, excitement, like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
So it's okay to just embrace it and know that being a professional doesn't mean you're never going to be afraid. It means that you're going to see that or feel it and not let it stop you.
That's kind of like facing your fear.
Mm-hmm.
Like you hit the yeah. So I'm trying to think of clue us in. If you don't know who Serena Williams is, but who is Serena Williams?
Black girl magic. She's amazing. I mean, her and Venus, they're two of the most epic
professional tennis players.
They're the world-class athletes.
Yeah.
Serena's won so many things. It's incredible. And even the fact that she was able to come back after having a very difficult pregnancy. Actually, the pregnancy itself was very easy, but it was, as I learned in the documentary, and I had heard of this before, that during, while she was going through childbirth, there were some complications and she almost lost her life.
Oh.
And then she recovered and came back and still went and played.
That's crazy.
And as somebody recovering from this back injury, that's why I'm tired. I had physical therapy earlier and I'm like, oh, body. But the cool thing about that is it gives me even more respect for what she did.
Yeah.
Were
you a fan of Serena before this documentary, or how'd you get into it?
Oh, always. How was I not going to be a fan of Serena going and dominating the tennis world?
That's amazing.
And when I was growing up, I played tennis too, not, of course, to that level. It was just for fun. And I was on the tennis team very briefly.
I was on a tennis team too. Yeah, in middle school.
Rematch.
I played for 2 or 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Well, we used to play for fun. I don't really remember the rules growing up, just playing with family. But then senior year, I didn't get the lead in the musical. It was My Fair Lady. So I didn't get Eliza, but I got to play Mrs. Higgins. Yeah. I got to play the professor's mom. And so I wound up having some free time because I had some rehearsals that I didn't have to go to.
Yeah.
So true to my form, I was like, what am I going to do with this extra free time? Oh, I know. I'll join the tennis team. So now I'll do the play and do the tennis team.
This was in high school?
Yeah.
How did that shape out?
Oh, it was so fun. I was not very good. I didn't practice enough to be great, but I had a blast.
That's funny. One thing that I wasn't good at that I did, other sport, was track and field.
What?
So I did shot put and discus.
Oh, yeah. I think you told me about that.
Did I? Okay.
Shot put.
Yeah. The funny thing was the biggest thing that I remember from my high school collegiate year, which was 1 year, I was throwing the discus at an event at Mission Bay High School.
Uh-huh.
And on my last throw, because you spin around and you spin a couple times and then you release and let it go. On my final release, my final spin, I farted.
Yeah, I did hear this story before.
And then that's the farthest I've ever gotten. So it landed over 100 yards or 100 feet, whatever it was. And I think it was 100 feet. It was just funny. I remember the rest of my team laughing at me. But yeah.
They were upwind upwind.
Oh,
whichever isn't the smelling.
I wish I
wind
crop
way.
dusted that platform so that way the next person had to endure.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, so she's gone. So you said Serena has gone through several struggles. Her childbirth was pretty.
Yeah, she had to get a C-section.
And she had to So basically, she was dominating women's tennis for so many years. Then she had a child. She gave birth to a child. And then, she had to climb back to. Did she climb back to the top after that?
You know what's so interesting? I don't want to give everything away. Like, I want people to watch this. Is when she came back, I think she was ranked 40th. But she had been, I think, first. But they didn't take into account, like, oh, she was gone to recover from this injury or, anything like that. They didn't hold her status in it. So, I'm not entirely sure. But honestly, to me, I'm like, it doesn't matter. She's still amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. Yeah, self-confidence. I feel like we hit all our talking points today.
That's right. You got the self-confidence.
What else is going on?
Oh, well, that's the thing with the other thing about self-confidence, I feel like that's also just awareness. It's knowing that, like, yeah, this is something that happens to people, and I'm just going to choose to believe in myself more than the thing I'm afraid of.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other documentaries I watched, One Child Nation.
What does that have to do with self-confidence? No.
What does it have to do with self-confidence?
I mean, like,
I don't know. I was just talking about documentaries.
No.
And Generation Wealth.
Nice. Yeah. You want to talk about those?
Actually, talking about self-confidence with Generation Wealth, that was a trip. So I saw One Child Nation before I watched Generation Wealth.
Okay.
The contrast between the two, I mean...
What is One Child Nation?
So One Child Nation is a documentary done about the 35-year span where the one child rule or law in China. And so it's talking about several of the lives that it's affected, impact on and people who have adopted babies from, not all of them, of course, obviously, but studies. And it was interesting hearing everybody's opinion and everybody's perspective. So my big takeaway on that documentary is, you did ask me about like other actory things, is, just learn as much as you can about the world and about life, because everybody makes sense. Everybody makes sense when you see it from their point of view, when you see what culture they were brought up in, who their family was, and what their priority. It's like everybody makes sense. It doesn't mean that you're going to agree on a personal level with what everybody's doing, but it's so much better to go in with a sort of like, okay, this is what where you're coming from. This is why you're going about this is why
you're taking the steps in this direction to get what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's understandable instead of just like, oh, you don't make any sense. Less judgment, more understanding.
I think just learning about people's different perspectives, like in general, can make the world a better place.
Agreed.
Not to sound preachy or anything, but I feel like, especially in this country, where everyone I feel is out for themselves.
Oh. Okay.
Go.
Why do you feel that way?
It's, I don't know, because I feel that we're so divided as a nation that no matter what we do, it's like we're not growing as a nation. Like the whole, yeah, I just feel that we're so divided that there's no chance for us to heal.
Oh, well, that's sad.
Yeah.
But, okay, so the reason why I said that is I'm so happy I happened to watch these documentaries. It's like, Generation Wealth, oh my goodness, that one, it ties in. That one was a photographer who grew up in LA and has been studying wealth for about 30 years or something. And seeing the contrast between those two documentaries was huge, by the way. So,
okay.
Yeah, but seeing what it does when people become obsessive with wealth. But also really going after these sort of capitalistic values that are kind of ingrained into us. So that was I thought was so interesting about, I hope this is interesting to other people. I found it fascinating watching One Child Nation, and they talked about propaganda a lot in it. They talked about how, the country would have commercials, plays, or all sorts of things to use propaganda for the one child thing. But then watching Generation Wealth, I don't remember them ever talking about propaganda here in the US, right? When they were talking about, they weren't talking about propaganda, but they were showing all the ads And it is its own form of propaganda for what you need to value and what you feel like you need to have in order to be successful, in order to be loved, in order. So I feel like we're in a culture of scarcity. Even though there's all of this wealth, there's still a lot of scarcity because it's been ingrained into us. And again, some more than others, we all have our ability to think, but what's coming to us is like, you need more to be happy. You're not enough. You need to buy this. You need to have that. You need to one up the Joneses. And so you need to be perfect. And then people are so isolated and lonely because you cannot connect when you are perfect, because nobody's perfect. You're not going to have a real connection when you're working so hard to be perfect and have all of the nice things. Have more than, if you're always one-upping somebody else.
Like you're not connecting with other people.
Yeah.
Because I feel at that point you're filling a void. I feel like there's something that inside you that is missing. I have my own feelings about money in general, about wealth and everything.
Do you now?
Yeah. I feel this is the first time I'm mentioning this, and I don't know how it's gonna go.
Uh-oh. You could always edit this out later.
Yeah, maybe.
You won't. But.
I won't. I feel money's running out. I feel money is running out, like, because like you always hear like the top like 1% control X amount, like the majority of the wealth in the country. Like I forget the actual term, but yeah, the top wealthy people that control most of the income around the country. And I feel that because of that, like, why we went from like going to see a movie every day. We went from
whoever went to see a movie every day.
And not every day.
Rockefeller over here.
No, yeah, I know. I'm trying to articulate my thoughts.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. We went from like average individuals, average families, were able to like afford to go see a movie every week or something like that, or like buy CDs or purchase. Now everything is subscription based. Like everything is so like now affordable. Like Spotify is like $10 a month. Like Disney, like you can get Disney Plus for $6 a month.
So it's okay then.
Yeah, go for it.
So it's kind of like an illusion of affordability, but everything's adding up to more than what was there before.
It's not necessarily everything's adding up, but I look at it as how can the wealthy take more money out of like what we don't have? How can they continue
tax breaks?
Well, that's them getting tax breaks. But I don't know. I'm not trying to like get political here. And I think I need to figure out how to articulate what I'm feeling and thinking. But I see situations, and I don't know if this is connected or not, but I see situations where, for example, like healthcare, like there's individuals out there who they're going on about their lives. They have an accident, they have an injury, and like it costs money. Like they get charged an exorbitant amount of money just to get seen at an emergency room, and which they have to pay, and then it causes them to miss work, and it, like all these bills stack up. So now you're like stuck in more debt for just being injured. And I don't get why, like, because everything is privatized. Like everything is like I think like a capitalist country is good. I do agree on that. But when you think of the reasons why a capital city or capitalist country can be bad, I think when everything becomes privatized, like that's when it becomes an issue. It's like, why wouldn't we want universal health care?
Well, yeah, I mean, not knowing everything in that area, just my feeling is everything within moderation. Okay, not everything, not like meth. Just don't have meth. But
meth in moderation. You heard it here first on the Open Mic podcast.
But it's like any sort of society, if taken to excess, it's excessive.
No, I get it. Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to disagree on that argument. I would like to have certain things covered for everyone as well.
Yeah. Like in the fact that like it's like how much more money does people need? When all these big corporations are getting tax breaks while the rest of the country is suffering.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, what, that's so fucked up.
It is. I mean, it's
sad.
If I think about it, I'm just going to get really angry, but I saw somebody posted something on Facebook the other day. You never get any. But they were posting just to let me know, not me specifically, anybody saw how many vacations I'd paid for how many golf trips. It's like that's coming out of my taxes to go to the one in charge right now. And I didn't think about it like that. And then I got really frustrated. But
because you'd wish you got to go on these golf trips and everything.
Man, I'd use my money to buy a house. I'd do something like.
And I think,
or at least, it'd be better to. I'd even take that to go mini golf.
Yeah, right. I agree. Tax breaks on mini golf. So going back to the whole money thing, it's just I feel like with all these subscription services, like I feel it's just another way to continue to bleed us dry.
Oof.
And like I don't know if I'm going conspiracy theory here, but I think money's running out, and like the upper echelon is just looking for more ways to get more money out of us. I don't know, that's just my thought. I still don't know how to fully articulate how I feel within, but I guess that's just a jumping off point.
Yeah.
What else do I?
I'm just thinking.
Yeah, what else? What else am I holding in that I want to let out?
Please, not your shot put. Not your shot put.
I'm about to fart right now. So yeah, that's how I feel. It's so funny. We went from self-confidence to like social issues and everything.
Oh, okay. So that's another thing about self-confidence. Since you're talking about it, made me think about the hierarchy of needs.
Of needs?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's I wasn't planning to talk about it, otherwise I could talk about it more succinctly. But have you heard about it? It's like a psychology thing where you have to have these hierarchy. It's a hierarchy of needs. Like you get your basic human needs met, food, shelter, all of that, human connection. And then once those sort of basic needs are met, you can be creative, you can
you can step out to the next section of your life as far as acquiring. It's like, all right, this is what else I need to be happy or live.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and so what I thought about self-confidence going hand in hand too with self-care too. Okay. Everybody's talking about self-care, and I think it's says something about our times that we have to focus on self-care so much.
This is another thing. Sorry, this is another thing that I think about. Okay. I also think since money is running out, more and more companies are asking their workers to do more with less. That's
true. I mean,
it happened in the military. It's like the military was so undermanned. However, like tasks kept growing, but the manpower to get the job done just keeps decreasing. And it's just, it's ridiculous. I remember this time when I used to work at Costco, this one guy, I forget what like what like career he was in, but he was like he was at the top of his job, but he ended up like costing the company so much money because of his salary that they let him go so they can hire someone like to do his job at like half the pay. And that's how you get rewarded for being a really good worker, by being let go. Like I think about stories like that where you're just asked to do more with less. I could be wrong.
No, that's not why I'm making those faces. I'm thinking about what you're saying. Because I feel like there's few things within that, you know, where part of it has probably been legislation.
Yeah.
Part of it is we're not producing things like we used to. Another part of it is other people in the workforce and not having free labor anymore. You know, but then the other thing about the people with the most money not caring about the people at the bottom, it's an ugly side of human nature. I feel like there's always been people that don't care about people who aren't just like them. Or who just look like, I don't think they even think of us as people.
Yeah.
I don't. And on top of it, the priority is so different. Like we both have a strong priority for human connection, for kindness, for like, you know, like humanity.
Team human.
Yeah, team human. You know, and if their main thing is life, is that money defines them, that's what their life is all about, getting more and more and more money, then yeah, they make sense to them. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. It's, you know, it reminds me, like I'm a huge fan of Kevin Hart. I love I love his work ethic. I love what he stands for. As far as like just being a hardworking person. But like I remember like one thing he was saying, he was just like he wants to be a billionaire. And like he works really hard, but he sacrifices like so much time from his family that I wonder, it's like in the end, like, is it all worth it?
Oh man.
Because we used to work really hard. Like I used to put my blinders on and just like focus primarily on comedy. And when my world last year came all crumbling down, like I had to take a step back and like what is my priority in life? Like what's the point of everything? Going back to doing more with less, like the industry in itself, they the thing is, what's crazy about it is that so many people are so desperate to get into the industry that they're willing to like sacrifice like low pay for just to get a shot.
Well, I mean, it's not even just about being desperate to be, like, you kind of have to.
Exactly, because that's what they expect from you.
Yeah.
Because if you say no, then the next person is gunning for your job. So it's like you don't have the option to say no. Like another example, like I remember I just heard this. It was either today or the other day, where Dan Harmon and Justin Roiler, the creators of Rick and Morty, they were in an extensive contract negotiation for the show, because they felt that like they wanted enough money. Because it's a very funny show. It's a great. I feel like it's one of the best shows on television. They wanted their contracts to take care of them because they didn't want to have to take on other gigs to sustain themselves. Like that makes perfect sense. Like they just wanted to like put all their time and energy into creating this amazing show, and the fact that they have to like negotiate, it's like, listen, we want more money so that we can just focus on this one thing that we're providing for you, that we're creating for you, for your network. And the network is kind of like, I don't know. That's bullshit to me. I
don't know. I don't know how much money they're being paid and how much money they were asking for.
Sure. That's fair. I just think of it like that's like the nasty business side of. I just think business is nasty.
I don't think it has to be. And also, listen, let me be very clear. I'm not doing this for free.
Yeah.
There has to be some business involved.
Yeah.
It's not just singing around a campfire for free. You're going to pay me for those songs.
That's true.
Like, you can't live off of good vibes. Like money only really matters because we use it as a currency for the things that we need.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
like Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Well, that's speaking of money. Like in the arts, I was surprised to see how much money there was in the Pacific Northwest for comedy.
Oh.
Like spoiler. I don't want to let the secret out, but like I've made the most money doing comedy up here, up in the Pacific Northwest, than I have anywhere else, and. Like, it's kind of crazy to me because like in Southern California, there's so many comics that like comics are willing to perform. I was one of those comics that was willing to perform for free.
Yeah.
And because someone else would just take the gig. But up here, it's kind of like it's a common knowledge that it's like, all right, like if you do a show, for the most part, you're getting paid something.
Yeah.
You're getting compensated something.
It's, not to what you're saying, but it's different though down there in LA because a lot of it is, yes, there's so many comics, but also it's a showcase city. Like, yeah, you're performing for free, but somebody might see you and put you in their TV show tomorrow and you're going to make bank.
But that goes back to dangling the carrot.
It's true. I guess it depends, like, because you're a straight up comedian. For me, I'm an actor and comedian. So for me, I'm like, either way, that's fine. But if I was doing it just to do comedy and not also act, I would have a different feeling about it.
That's the side of the industry. That's why I think I'm so into building my own foundation, because like I don't want like someone to dangle a carrot in front of me.
I wouldn't dangle it. Slap you with.
Oh, that's gross.
What? It's a carrot.
Slap me with a carrot. Use me.
Oh. You can cut that out.
I probably won't. So yeah.
Well, because you said you don't want a carrot dangle. I don't know.
So many thoughts about the industry.
There are so many thoughts about carrots.
So many thoughts about carrots. Yeah. Well, we do gotta wrap it up soon.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on anything? It's so funny how this episode came about. Like, it was all about self. I guess. I guess like to tie it all together, just like I'm starting to develop. For me personally, I'm starting to develop like self-confidence within myself to build something where I don't necessarily need other people to help me out. Like as far as like my platform, my podcast, my Twitch channel, my comedy, my Instagram, my YouTube channel, like I'm trying to build a platform so that way like I can set myself up for success. Whereas I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know where it's going to lead. I don't even know if this is going to work out in the end. But I'm just tired of having to like focus on. I just got tired of doing other people's like helping other people's like dreams come true. And I was just like, you know what? Let me just invest in myself and see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too, though, are you enjoying this process more?
I am loving this process. It's so much creatively. It's so freeing. It is so freeing to be able to say like I'm doing this today, and nobody can tell me what to do. I love it.
Yeah. We're talking about. Oh, yeah. That's the thing. I think before I had made. Even though I said like my family's the most important thing to me, like anybody asks me, I'll tell them that. I won't even think about it. but my actions were more that my career was the most important thing to me because I was living in a city far away from my family. I barely got to see them. And yes, I do understand that we have to put in our time. Like, I can't just like sit at home and drink tea every day with my mom and stuff like that. I'm a grown ass woman, I have stuff to do. But it's finding that balance, because what you're saying, like, is it worth it? When you're saying about, Kevin Hart getting that $1 billion, like, yeah, I want to make lots of money, but also the time that I have with people I care about is valuable, and I want to also invest my time pursuing this in a way that brings me more joy and less the feeling like I'm running on empty.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how long we're going to get to be alive.
Yep.
And I don't want to spend a majority of my life just kind of feeling I'm missing out on life so that I could go on stage and pretend to be somebody else who is having this life. I just, so I really feel that it is about balance. And that was something, again, going back to the Serena documentary, that was really interesting. I find it very helpful hearing people that I admire talk about balance and the ways that they find it and search for it as well. And it's comforting to know that you're not alone in searching for that.
Regardless of what profession you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that was the other thing that I think her coach told her. And I also remember reading this in Shonda Rhimes' book, Year of Yes, that anytime you're winning at something, you're losing at something else.
Wow. Well, the yin and yang, the balance.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be two places at the same time. So when you're saying yes to something, you're also saying no to something else. And accepting that and realizing that and having it work for you the way that's true for you. It doesn't matter how it works for somebody else. That's their life.
Yeah.
What works for you.
That's what we're all trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll wrap it up there.
Oh.
Did you have more to say?
I just had one shout out.
Okay.
I noticed I was wearing the shirt that Misha gave me like 2 times ago on the podcast, I think. And this time, if you can read it, Mikey McKernan is not funny, and I just have to say boo-ha.
Boo-ha. Well, we'll definitely clip it and send it.
Shout out for you, Mikey.
Shout out, Mikey McKernan. Miss you, buddy. Miss you. He was one of the good guys that I enjoyed talking to in LA when I was there.
He was fun.
Boo, huh? Good dude. With that being said, thank you so much. Thank you, Samantha Run, for being on the podcast. If you have any questions or comments, please email me at openmicpod@gmail.com. So that way, and if you do so, I will answer any and every question on the podcast live. That being said, thank you so much for hanging out, and you guys have a wonderful day.